be healthy is simple, very, very simple. Two things. I told you, stand, don't sit. So what is health? Enthusiasm to work, enthusiasm to work. And what is health? Enthusiasm to be compassionate. Enthusiasm to be compassionate. Paropakarartha vidam sharinam. Have you heard that? It's not just a moral preaching of the Sanatana Dharma, it is science. Now, evolutionary biology, I'm not talking of the Western dead biology, I'm talking evolutionary biology, has classified the human system as a closed system, where everything happens inside. We're not the open system like the Western biology, where for everything you need a doctor to, if you get a cold, somebody has to, it's like, you know all, I mean, you being engineers, you all know the systems thing. Open system is like a bucket, you want hot water, you put a heater in that, when you don't want it, take it out. That's open system. But closed system is a geyser, you switch it on, it is there. When you want hot water, it's not there because hot water becomes, there is a thermostat. So the human body has come here with the inbuilt thermostat, which is called your immune system. And this is the one that keeps you healthy or unhealthy, doctors notwithstanding. Did you get the point? 5 places in the world, doctors went on strike. I'm talking of 25 years. Learn from history, wrote Cicero, the Roman thinker. If you do not, you will relive history. What happened? Saskatchewan in Canada 25 years ago, Los Angeles County 15 years ago, Bogota in Colombia 10 years ago, Dublin, St. John's Hospital, James Hospital in Dublin 10 years ago, and recently in Israel. There are no private doctors there. There are no private doctors there. They're all government doctors. And the government did not want to give them higher pay, so they went on strike. What would you expect? Patients would have died, no? Doctors not working. Right? But what happened? In all these places, now audit shows, hardly anyone died. British Medical Journal wrote an editorial. Doctor strike in Israel was very good for health of the society. Do you know why? We overtreat, over-intervene, over-diagnose, maltreat, mistreat, undertreat, or overtreat, but never manage the disease properly. You can't, because you don't know how the disease works. Unless you understand the human mind, you just can't understand how it works. So very easy. And diseases are not new. These diseases were there for donkey's years. Nothing is new. But we have created a new disease called, thanks to technology, called doctor thinks you have a disease syndrome. You have nothing, You are going about very happy. Right, ma? See, this girl knows that. You are very happy. Then we goad you, cajole you, coax you to come for a checkup. Have you heard of checkup? And when you go for a checkup, you come out as a patient. An American professor of medicine, she was 52 years old, very brilliant girl. She was like Preeti. She is not 52. She is about 32. 22, Preeti is 22. Now, this girl is a very interesting girl. She asked one of her bright students in the class, she was in Yale University, who is a patient, she asked. Do you know what the student said? A man or a woman who sees a doctor becomes a patient. She was shocked. She said, is this what we taught you? Then she was shocked. Then she said, okay, second answer at least will be sensible. She said, when does he become a man or a woman again? Do you know what the student said? Rarely ever, comma, if ever, full stop. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Do you know why? Statistical medicine we practice. We don't have hard scientific medicine. What do? What is the normal height of Indian males? How do we do that? We measure 1,000 males and plot inge idu illaya board illaya paravala na sonna ungalukella theriyuma neenga you're all experts in statistics. I'm an idiot, I don't understand statistics. Now what happens? You get a Gaussian distribution, right? Now we are very wise, we have statistics. You know what statistics is? Science without sense. You don't know? You don't know? Write down. Science without sense. Science without sense is a book written by a professor of statistics in Washington University. His name is Stephen Milloy. Steven Milloi. Milloy. Got it right? It's published by Cato Institute in Washington, C-A-T-O in capital letters, Cato Institute in Washington. It just costs $7. It's a fascinating book, and this fellow tells you how statistics runs this world. Anyway, now come to what we have done, mean plus 2 standard deviation. That is called average, right? But in medicine, what we have done is, we have made it synonymous with normal. Now you see, there are people who 4.5 inches, they're also normal. 4 feet 6 inches normal. 6 feet 6 inches normal. Now when we put mean plus 2 standard deviation, it becomes 5.4 inches. Now what we did, instead of calling it as average, we called it as normal, which means applying disease statistics on the healthy population. So what happens, you have thousands of people on either side who are normal, but they become patients. This is called false positive. For one parameter of the body, there are 5 to 25% false positives. Today, if you went for a checkup, there's what's called the total body scanner, which measures 750 parameters at a given time. So even if you take it at 5%, 750 into 5 is how much? My mathematics is very bad. How much is that? Huh? 3,750. This girl must be right because she is in the IIT. Now what happens? What happens? 100 people go in for a checkup, 3,550 patients come out. Did you understand that? It is as simple as that. And that is what is causing all the problems for medicine and creating more problems, because we start treating everyone. American audit showed 95% of Americans, 95% of Americans are on at least one drug a day. One drug a day. And 1 in 20 people have 3 drugs a day. All because you have a new syndrome called doctor thinks you have a disease syndrome. And now we have created so much of anxiety in society, we have a new disease. Patient thinks she has a disease syndrome. If you take them off, it's about 40% of the patient load. So this girl resigned from her job, this professor of medicine, because she said, my God, I'm teaching wrong things in the class. So she sat the MCAT exam again and got a regular seat in the medical college, joined the same medical college where she was a professor, came out after 4 years and wrote a book, What We Don't Teach in the Medical School. I wanted to send her my book, What Doctors Don't Get to Study in Medical School, which I've written 20 years ago. And she wouldn't have had to go through the medical course again. This is what's happening. Now we misunderstand. Wellness is trying to understand the human being, trying to understand society, and trying to change your lifestyle if you want any disease to be avoided. Year was 1733. There was a brilliant professor of medicine in Vienna, which was a mecca of medicine those days. But this boy was not a son of the soil, not because he is from Chennai that he became Chennai IIT professor. He is from Volga Valley in Russia, but he was a brilliant boy. At 26, he was made professor of medicine. He wrote the first textbook in English. He wrote of diseases. Disease I have seen with vehement agitation of the mind and spastic constriction of the human organs. He was talking about hypertension, diabetes, and what have you. And do you know what the treatment he said? 1733, change of mode of living. Tranquility of mind. Drugs, rarely ever, comma, if ever, full stop. If I am to write a book in 2016, I would write the same thing. I will give you some examples. Your blood pressure has gone up. You go to the doctor. The minute the doctor touches you, see the doctor, go to the doctor's office itself, your blood pressure has gone up. Because that's called the reflex reaction. Because we were hunter-gatherers in the forest. So if you sleep like your air-conditioned concrete rooms now, the tiger will eat you. So any noise, you must wake up. So you get what's called the roving eye movement, the light sleep. And if anybody touches you, you get alert. So doctor touches you, your blood pressure goes up. Now what is this blood pressure? Have you ever thought about it? You were all in CET exam before coming to IIT, right? There the physics professor will say, linear flow in a tube cannot exert lateral pressure because if it does, it won't flow. Cosine 90 is 0, right? Agreed? Agreed? Student mugs it up. Gets first rank in the CET. Goes to the medical college and comes to the first MBBS class. Professor of physiology comes. Blood pressure is a lateral pressure exerted on the vessel wall by the flowing blood. He'll mugs it up. See? Why? Because our education system is such that whatever the teacher says is gospel truth and you've got to follow it, otherwise you'll fail in the exam, which is true. Last part is true. So what happens? You have become an idiot. You have never questioned what is his blood pressure. And what is the normal blood pressure? I don't know. I know average blood pressure, but I don't know the normal blood pressure. But there's a committee called JNC, Joint National Committee. All wise people sit there in America, and each one of them have now been found to get millions of dollars from the drug companies. That's a different story. They lowered it and lowered it and lowered it. When I was a student in the 1956-55 in Chennai, our blood pressure normal was 160 by 110. When I passed some things and became MD, and it became 140 by 90. So I wrote to the hypertension committee, how did you bring it down? They said, we have evidence. I said, where is the evidence? So I wrote an article, evidence-based medicine or evidence-burdened medicine. Anyway, after some years it became 120 by 80. And after some time it became 110 by 70. All evidence-based. Now suddenly the 8th JNC report says, no, all this is bad, we have killed millions of people, and the blood pressure must be 159 by 99, like the Bata shoes, not 2000. Because I had written a book in 1933 on hypertension where I said the normal blood pressure should not be below 160 systolic for an adult and 100 diastolic for an adult. So they can't replicate the same thing because they'll be copying mine. So there's 159. Then I wrote to the committee, there is no 9 in the box. It's either 8 or 0. Chalta hai. That is called the science of hypertension. But what is this hypertension? We have not seen that. God gave us a special apparatus in the body when we were hunter-gatherers in the forest, lest we should be eaten by the tigers or killed by the snakes. And you see a tiger, you should be able to run away. Those days to run away in the forest. What do you read to run away today? Glucosade, right? There's no glucosade in the forest. So God said, okay, I will provide you some sugar. So he gave packets of gunny bags of glycogen in the liver, kept ready. Whenever you want, it will become glucose. It's called neoglucogenesis. New glucose is born. Then he gave you something to tickle your heart so that the heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, and you're ready to run. In the forest, you see a tiger, and you want to run away from the tiger. Your blood pressure goes up, your sugar goes up, your cholesterol goes up, your steroids go up, everything goes up. Then you run away from the tiger for your life. All these things come down. Now we have transplanted ourselves into society today. Only 10,000 years. We have not changed. We have not mutated in 10,000. It takes 10 million years for us to mutate. We are still having the autonomic nervous system which God gave us in the forest. So we have in the city today, not those tigers, but human tigers. Your boss may be a tiger. Your assistant may be a tiger. Your husband may be a tiger. Your wife may be a tiger. Your son may be a tiger. Your assistant may be a tiger. Your student may be a tiger. Now what happens? You see these tigers and same reaction occurs. Your blood pressure goes up, your sugar goes up, your steroid goes up, your cholesterol goes up. Now you can't run away from this tiger. Supposing your boss is your tiger, you can't run away. You want the job. And if you don't run away, it remains permanently raised and becomes a disease. You come to the doctor. We have our calculations. I told you how blood pressure is calculated. And we have a chemical. We give that. And then we show in the box that blood pressure come down. But the changes have not gone. Our treatment does not do any good to you. All side effects come. But we tell you that on record your blood pressure is below normal. The same thing can be done by changing a lifestyle. Instead of seeing your boss as a tiger and hating him as a tiger, this is management. You make a friend of your boss. And when once you love your boss, I tell you, your blood pressure comes down. Your sugar comes down. Your cholesterol comes down. This is called change of mode of living. So disease management is not through reductionist chemicals which damage the system whichever way you want. We have to change our mode of living. How do you do that? Compassion, enthusiasm to be compassionate.